Alright guys, so like the title of the video says, should you guys quit your 9 to 5 jobs to pursue your goals and your dreams, alright? And sorry, I kind of butchered what I just said, bro, kind of slurring my words, but should you guys quit your job, right, in order to pursue your goals and your dreams? So for example, right, I know a lot of you guys are like me, right, young buggers. I'm only 22 years old, and you know, you guys probably like fresh out of high school. A lot of you guys, you probably don't know what you guys want to do with your life, and you guys want to find purpose, and you know, you guys are always like, oh, I don't like work with 9 to 5 job, I don't like do this. So this is what I'll personally tell you guys, alright? If you guys are like me and you guys want to be entrepreneurs and you guys want to be your own boss, I would recommend, guys, don't be out here doing that full time, especially if you're young, bro. Especially if you're 17, 18, and especially if you are fresh out of high school. I would recommend and I would not advise you guys to pursue that 100%. I know you guys might be wondering, like, what? What do you mean? Like, you guys don't like me? You don't like me be rich? You don't like me? You don't like me be financially free? You don't like me be my own boss? That's not that, guys. All right. So my whole philosophy is, you guys gotta be the best version of yourself, and in order for you to be the best version of yourself, you gotta be well-rounded in every aspect of your life, whether it be physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, you know, finances, your businesses, your characteristics, life skills and experiences, how you interact with people, your leadership skills, your communication skills. So many components that you guys got to focus on, but you guys got to be the best version of yourself. You guys got to get rich first as a person, right? In order for you to be rich first as a person, you need to be well-rounded. And like I said, in order for you to be well-rounded, you got to be taking care of every component of your life. So be rich first and then get rich financially. In order for you to go ahead and get rich as a person, you need a lot of life skills. You need a lot of different experiences in life. You need to go through a lot of things and you need to suffer, right? I get it, guys. Maybe you're trying to start your business and it does take a lot of suffering to get to your business, right? It takes a lot of work ethic, a lot of discipline, a lot of long nights. But still, at the same time, you're not going through the regular norm that a lot of people will go through to get where they want to be in the future, right? So, bro, I recommend and advise you guys got to experience life first before you start doing your business. I'm not saying, you know, you guys got to experience life and then in 5 years then you start your business. You can be working on your business on the side, but at the same time you also got to make time for all these other things that you guys got to go through to make you a better version of yourself. So for example, right, when I was 17 years old, right, let's take it a notch a little bit back, right? When I was 16 years old, I was still in high school. I was a junior in high school. I was finishing up junior high, and pretty much I was about to be a senior in high school. And at the time I wasn't taking life serious, so I decided, you know what, I got to start taking shit serious. That's another story, guys, to tell you guys. But I decided to go ahead and get occupied, right? I was like, okay, in order for me to feel good about myself, to feel satisfied and make sure that I work hard and I could prove to myself that I was capable and able to do all of the things that I said I was going to do but I didn't do, I said, you know what, I'm going to rejoin everything that I quit. Everything that I told myself I was going to do a couple years ago, I'm going to do it now for senior year. So what I did was I started playing football again, right? I started playing tackle football. Every day I was going training, summer camp. I started doing more combat sports. You know, I was still running and swimming on the side. I was like, bro, I got to get my ass back in shape. And then, of course, you know, I was going to the gym during football training, blah, blah, blah. And then at the same time, I was also taking college credit classes, right? And then on the weekends, I was working my first job at my landscaping job. So pretty much when I was occupied, Monday to Friday, I'll be going to school at 5 in the morning. And then I'll finish school at 3 o'clock, go to practice from 3:30 to 6:30, come home at 7, do whatever I had to do. And then I was also trying to focus on YouTube, focus on my college credit classes, trying to raise my GPA. And on the weekends, I had other responsibilities I had to tend to, right? I had to work at my landscaping job, blah, blah, blah. But with all of these experiences that I experienced at 16 and 17, it made me a better version of myself. And I wouldn't have learned all of these skill sets and all these experiences and have all these interesting stories, and you know, it wouldn't have shaped me to the person that I am today if I didn't put myself through these situations, right? If I decided, okay, you know what, I want to be rich, I want to be a YouTuber, so let me just focus 100% on YouTube at that age, at 17 and 16 years old, I think that would have been a bad idea, because I wouldn't have been, you know, I wouldn't have become the person that I am today, right? When I went to football, when I did all these combat sports, running and swimming, it taught me more how to be physically resilient. And with that, in return, it also made me mentally resilient, right? It made me more spiritually resilient. It made me have a better, stronger work ethic. It taught me not how to give up. You know, it taught me more discipline. It taught me brotherhood, working with other people, right? Showing up on the days that I didn't want to do, pushing each other to do our best, right? It made me a better version of myself. It made me feel satisfied, like, bro, I can do this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. You know, when I was working on these landscaping jobs, I learned leadership skills, responsibility, accountability. I was only 17 and 16 years old, and on the weekends, I'll be the only worker at the job. And pretty much the things that I was doing was, you know, I had to make sure I was cleaning the property, driving the golf carts, driving forklifts at 16, 17. I didn't even think I was able to do that. Like, I don't think that was even legal. You know what I'm saying? So it got to the point where I had so much massive responsibility at that young age. I had a lot of things I had to take accountability for. I had a lot of things that I had to do. I had to wake up on time. I had to make sure that I didn't call out, because if I called out, nobody would be doing the job that I was doing. My boss wasn't there at the time. You know, she was off the property or whatever. So I had to make sure that everybody was good. And the place that I was working at was like at this community hall center. Like, they had like parties and events. And I had to make sure that everything was clean and everything was good. So at 6 in the morning, I wake my ass up, rush to work, and make sure that the gates was open, because there'll be customers waiting. I had to make sure this and that. So it got to the point where it taught me a lot of things, even like skill sets. It made me like, bro, I know how to cut grass. I know how to leaf blow. I know how to do this and do that. I know how, like, bro, it was amazing. In 2020, I got involved in more things, right? You know, school got canceled because of COVID. We went on lockdown. Me and my boys was working at Taco Bell, and in Taco Bell I learned a lot of different things as well. Monday to Friday I'll be working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and I'll be doing double shifts every day. Weekends, landscaping, going to the gym, trying to do this, trying to do YouTube, but I kept giving up on YouTube and I wasn't consistent. And you know, Taco Bell taught me a lot of things. It taught me how, you know, to speak better, good communication skills, how to be more confident, how to be more charismatic, how to work under pressure, how to multitask, right? Because that's how life is. You're gonna have to multitask and work and balance every aspect of your life. You're gonna have to multitask. You're gonna learn how to work under pressure. I learned how to practice my stoicism skills, because every day that I went to the job, there'll be always a jackass trying to fucking irritate the shit on me, right? At the drive-through, at the, you know, other co-workers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of things that I learned. And if I didn't go through that, you know, if I decide to stay my ass home at 17 years old and just focus on YouTube, I would not have been more charismatic, you know, for my videos. I wouldn't even be good at speaking at this point. I feel like, you know, I took speech class and whatever, but at the time I was still shy. But that job is what made me burst out of my bubble. It made me more confident. It made me, you know, okay, yeah, I can speak. I'm more articulate, blah, blah, blah. I can talk to strangers. But if I didn't do all those things that I experienced, I wouldn't be making these good YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be as confident to go up to a girl and talk to them. I wouldn't be confident to convey my message, because I didn't have life experiences and skill sets that could back me up and give me credibility. So the whole point I'm trying to make is, guys, if you're out here and you think, oh, I need to 100% focus on something, especially at a young age, and if you're trying to do like business, and you know, you might not be making money right away, it might be not, you know, you might not be paying your bills, I would recommend, bro, you guys can do a lot of different things in the daytime. So you know, I've been working all kinds of jobs that are, you know, warehouse, you know, restaurant jobs, delivery jobs, high school jobs, etc. Taco Bell, landscaping, training, doing this and that, traveling with my girl, blah, 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 learning different skill sets. But I was doing all of those, but I also made sure that I made time to focus on my business, right? So what I did personally, I made a decision. I said, you know what, in 2024, I quit all my 9-to-5 jobs. And the reason why I quit all my 9-to-5 jobs is because throughout the past 5 years, right, or 6 years, right, since 2019, I was working. So I stacked up a lot of money. I was able to save a lot of money. I had a checking account, savings account, I have credit cards, I have different multiple accounts on Capital One and blah, blah, blah. So it got to the point where I was able to stack up enough money, right? And it got to the point where I feel like I was able to stack up a lot of life skills, skill sets, experiences, stories, you know, a lot of things that would back up my credibility so that I could talk to you guys about it. And you know, I can't listen to somebody, right, like a fucking 20-year-old who has never experienced anything in life. So you know, you guys got to give me credit, because I have the credibility. Like, I went through all this stuff, right, in within the past 6 to 5 years, right, or the past 5 to 6 years, so 7 years ongoing. So it got to the point where I feel like I built up a lot of skill sets, experiences, stories. I was training. I was involved in a lot of things, and I was very occupied. So it got to the point where I decided, you know what, I'm not taking my goals serious. But since I built myself up in every aspect thus far, I still have a lot of things to work on. But I said, you know what, let me just take it back a notch and let me try and focus really on business, making my YouTube channels, trying to do social media, trying to do this. And so it got to the point where I feel like I got to take a year off kind of thing to really focus on, because I did a lot of things. But if you're not like me, guys, right, and you know, you're 22, you're 23, and you didn't do any of the things that I said, you didn't work multiple jobs, you didn't experience life, you didn't do any training, you wasn't going to church, you wasn't going through tests and trials, meeting new different people, getting your heart broken, getting beat up, learning how to drive a car, doing stupid shit at a young age, you need to experience that so that it could make you a better version of yourself. Okay, if all you're doing is sitting home and focusing on playing video games and trying to be a streamer, you're not going to be learning anything. And then in that return, pattern, right, is kind of going to be weird, right? Like when you're streaming, what are you going to talk about? You have no life skills, you have no stories, you have no experiences, you have probably no good communication skills, you're awkward. So the thing that you're going to do is the only way that you're going to get attention and make money is you act like a clown on the internet, which is why you see a lot of young people nowadays, right? All they know is there's nothing interesting about them. They're not credible. They have nothing interesting or unique stories to tell. So in order for them to get attention and to make money and to go viral, instead of trying to do, like, trying to teach people how to do this and do that, they go out in public and act like they're just screaming it. But like I saw on video, one young boy, right, him and his posse, bro, him and his entourage, they went into like stores and they're just yelling and acting stupid, like what the fuck, and they're trying to troll employees. They got a lot of views, millions of views. Yeah, it's kind of funny in the moment, but bro, I tell you guys, that's the only way that you can go viral, by acting like a fucking clown. To act like something and try to put on a show and perform, you're in a circus. Like, bro, is that what you want to be remembered by? To go out in public and act like a clown? Yeah, you might be making money in the in the short temporary time. Yeah, you might be getting views and clout, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna last for a long term, bro. It's gonna get to the point where you don't want to do this anymore, and then you're gonna be confused. You're gonna be like, bro, what else can I do to entertain people and continue making money? And then at the end of the day, you have nothing interesting or anything to talk about. So then you resort to going back to acting like a clown. So that's the importance of what I'm talking about, guys. You guys gotta get rich as a person first, then get rich financially. All right. So in the meantime, this is what my schedule would be. If you guys are not going to college, you don't know what to do. Maybe you want to be a streamer, you want to be a YouTuber. This is what I recommend for you guys to do. All right. Wake up early, work 2 jobs, right? 2 to 3 jobs, so that you can stack up your income and stack up your life skills and experiences, stack up your tests and trials, your life storyline, whatever, right? To make you more credible, make you more interesting and unique, to give you different perspectives and opinions on certain subjects and this and that, right? So get out there. First job that you guys got to work at is a physical labor job. The reason for this is because you're trying to build up your body, strong, whatever, right? You already know the basics. So work a physical labor job. Number 2, right? Work a customer service job at nighttime so that you can build up your communication skills, your multitasking skills, working under pressure skills, your stoicism skills, learning different skill sets and blah, 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 meeting, talking to strangers. It's good practice, bro. After that, guys, you guys can go ahead and buy a cheap, reliable car with your 9-to-5 job. With your 9-to-5 job money, and then from there you guys can do side hustles to earn extra income, door dashing, Uber Eats, Amazon Flex, whatnot. You can also focus on a reselling business, and then even with your 9-to-5 job skill sets, you guys can go ahead and use that to try and start a side hustle or a small business. Maybe you're like me, right? I was a landscaper, and what me and my boy used to do is we used to go house to house, and we used to ask people to cut their grass. If you're a detailer, for cars, you can go house to house and ask people to wash their cars. If you're a cook, you're working at a restaurant, or maybe you're good at baking, you can make food and sell it at farmers market, and then from there it could potentially get take off and go to bigger grounds and potentially turn into a bigger business. So there's a lot of things that you guys can do. And then also after that, go to the gym, train, get in shape, join a combat sport, go to church, pray to God, take care of your spiritual health, spend time with your family. If you have a girlfriend, spend time with your girl, learn different skill sets, learn how to drive, learn how to fix cars, learn how to fish, learn survival skills, learn how to shoot guns, learn this and that, read books if you can, educate yourself, be as knowledgeable as possible, learn about the world, visit different countries and states, travel with your family, explore. All right. And in the meantime, focus on your business. That's what I recommend for you guys to do. Don't go 100% on your business. For 1 to 2 years, you need to stack up as much things as possible to make you credible and interesting and unique and form different opinions and perspectives of life, all right? Because if you're not interesting, your YouTube channel, your business is probably not going to be successful. And you know what I'm saying? I'm just being realistic. And even if you see successful people, they're probably boring. You know what I'm saying? Like people who hasn't experienced shit in their life, they're just boring. Like, I don't like talk to you. Like, bro, listen to me, guys, all right? Trust me, guys, because it makes it so much more easier in life. You got to go through all these tests and trials. You got to suffer. You got to, work hard in the meantime. And then I promise you guys, it's going to pay off. And all these life lessons, right? So say, for example, you're like, oh, well, what if I'm not focusing 100% on my business in 1 to 2 years and, I'm just losing hope and, I need more time. I understand that. You guys can cut all that shit out later on, right? Focus on your business like me, like right now, because I cut all the 9-to-5 jobs out. I cut a lot of things out in my life. Friends, opportunities, people, doing fun stuff, and all the activities I used to do, I cut that shit out because I really want to focus on business now and my health and, main things. But that was kind of a shift later because I did all that shit that I told you guys already in my past. So I get a pass, all right? But if you guys didn't do any of that, you guys got to start now. 1 to 2 years, focus, work on your business on the side, and, well, all these jobs, right, it might teach you a lot of life lessons. Like, I remember at Taco Bell, I was working and I was like, bro, I'm working hard, doing double shifts, only getting paid 11 an hour, know all these job skill sets, and I was well rounded at the job, charismatic, cool guy, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, bro, why am I working so hard when I'm only getting paid $11 an hour? But I said, you know what? That's actually a good thing because it's teaching me how to work hard with little to no reward. Because that's how it's going to be with your business. When you start your business at first, you run a YouTube channel, it's going to take years. It's going to take months. It's going to take long. Yeah, you might go viral and you might get lucky, but bro, realistically, it might not happen right away. So you got to learn how to work with little to no reward. If you don't see results, you don't get paid, you don't see any progress, slow progress, you still got to keep going. When you go to the gym, you're not going to get in shape right away. You're not going to be the best boxer right away or the best swimmer or the fastest runner. It's going to take time. So what are you going to do? Give up because you see little to no reward? So, well, all these 9 to 5 jobs, it's going to make it much more easier for your business and for the future. I promise you guys going to be successful. Not just 9 to 5 jobs, but just getting out there and experiencing life. Travel, meet a girl, get your heart broken, go to the gym, get beat up, learn different skill sets. Maybe, like, I remember when me and my boy, right, we used to, like, this is a funny story too, but I would never recommend this to you guys too or personally do it today. And if I could go back in time, I would, but it made me the person who I am today. But you guys gotta do kind of stupid shit at some point. When I got my first car, I bought my first car like for $5,000, and then pretty much I was driving for like 4 or 5 months without no driver's license, and that was risky, right? I was going out nighttime, I was doing whatever I had to do, I was working, I never drank or smoked or did any dumb shit like that, but I was doing stuff like that where I kind of like it was kind of I guess illegal, right? So don't snitch on me. If I get when I get super famous and shit like that, don't be out there bringing this old clip up and trying to bring up an old case, you know what I'm saying? But, I used to do dumb shit like that. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot though, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I gotta, it made me learn how to work under pressure and drive better. Don't do this, guys, okay? It's just my little story and testimony. So don't listen to what I say. But if you do get caught up in the situation and you do dumb shit, make sure that you learn from it. All right? Make sure you improve from it. Make sure that you can look back at it and laugh at it in the future and say, bro, it taught me to be a better version of myself. It taught me how to, not to do dumb shit, not to hang around with these idiots who smokes and drinks and, gets into fights. Don't be doing that shit, okay? So anyways, guys, that's my opinion for this video. I'll see you guys for another video. All right, let's